Hey guys, so I wanted to do a quick video and explain my contour palette, full face, a little in-depth, teach you guys how to do it. So for this look today, I will be using Radiant Beige contour palette. I will be using our Ultimate Black Mascara, the Max Vibe. I will be using Tea Rose, can't say it, Tea Rose lip color. I'm going to be adding my ColourPop with Petal Pink lip liner. I'll be using that on my eyes as well, and my setting spray, sorry. So for this, tools wise, you can use whatever brushes you have. Just remember, good brushes make all the difference. I will be using my brush set. I will be using my sponge, my blending sponge, which I wanted to show you a little trick. So this, there you go, is the blending sponge when it comes out of the package. This is dry, brand new sponge. This is the blending sponge that is wet. Notice the difference. When it's wet, it's going to soak up less product, leaving more product on your face and less product waste. So, and it also seems to blend much better when it's wet. And I've tried a variety of other sponges, and most of them you can't, like, you wet it and wet it, and it doesn't get any bigger. So, I love ours. Not sure if I'm going to use this bad boy or not, but I love to play with this one. That is our complexion brush. Anyway, let's get to it. I don't want this to be too long. So, what I do, I'm going to go into our contour palette. I'm going to take our big fluffy brush here. And I'm going to use this color here. It's the medium shade, I think, or darker brown. I'm going to dip it and always tap. I'm going to start with my contour line here. Just create a little shadow. You can go darker, you can go lighter. I don't like too deep of a line where it looks like mud on my face because I'm very pale, and a lot of you are too, so you'll understand. See, I've got a little bit of a shadow that I created there. I'm going to go up here and kind of blend that in right above that corner of my eye there. I'm going to lead that down into my temple to create a little bit of a shadow. And then I take it down to my jawline here. And what that's creating is a 3 on my face. Every face shape is different, so you want to get to know your face shape to see which technique and how big of a 3 you need. Some people need to start their line a little lower and a little straighter, depending on their cheekbone and their jawbone. Some people need to go down a little more. I need to go down a little more. So, I'm going to go ahead and do the other side real fast without speaking as much. Going under the jaw and your chin here creates the illusion of a shadow, and it kind of takes away from any imperfections, double chin that you may not like. So that's the contour part, right? You can even, depending on your forehead and your forehead size and all that fun stuff, you can even darken that patch right there at the hairline. With my bangs, I don't need to as much because you don't see it. So I'm going to go ahead and brush off my brush. And I'm going to take this brown here. I'm going to mix it with this pinky shade. just kind of dab it in both. And I'm going to tap. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to use that kind of all over my face. Blending it in to create kind of that not so pale look. But I don't want it so dark that it hides everything else. So I'm just going to put it all over like that. See? Now everything's kind of blended in smoothly. Now, I'm going to take the yellow and the pink. I'm going to put that right here in between my eyebrows and kind of just blend that in a little bit. That's going to lighten up that area. Not so much highlight, but lighten. I know a few of you watching aren't into the contour and highlight look. So, I'm going to tone it down and do more of a natural little lightening. Okay? Now, this is where my blending sponge comes in. I'm going to take this yellow and I'm going to put it on my lid, and after I do that, see, dip the wet blending sponge in. I'm going to go in the corner here. And I'm very lightly dabbing and pulling to blend. See, and then I'm going to take my finger, just going to rub it in very, very lightly. I'm using my ring finger because less pressure. So I'm going to go and do the same thing on the other eye. Use my ring finger. See, you're technically supposed to switch hands, but automatically. I'm learning, guys. Blend it in very lightly. Now this is where I'm going to take the ring finger. I'm going to go into that pink shade, which looks pretty white on my phone right now. And I'm just going to kind of rub it very softly into that yellow. Kind of take away the yellow look from under my eyes. So that yellow, it's covering the dark circles. It's kind of blending out that blue color. And it's brightening the eye area. This pink is going over to kind of neutralize that yellow. Bring it back to a more natural skin tone color. So there you go. Now, for my eyelids, because I'm going to use this on my eyes as well, I'm going to take that yellow again in that center, and I'm going to very gently pat it into my top eyelid. That's going to work as my base. You can use concealer if that's what you normally do and that's what you would prefer. But for this, I'm teaching you with the contour palette and all the different ways you can use it. So I'm using the contour palette. I'm going to do the same thing on the other eye. And I'm just covering the whole lid with that yellow. You can get as much on that one. So. And remember, this is supposed to be fun and an art. It's never going to be perfect, 100%. And I'm just blending out the corners so that it blends in with the rest of the makeup. And all I'm really doing is I'm putting a little pressure and kind of turning very, very gently. Not enough to really move the skin, but enough to blend out that makeup. Okay, so now going to take our bigger fluffy brush. You want something with a little fluff to it. And I'm going to take this darker shade here. I'm just going to push the tip in. I'm always going to tap off, so I don't want that excess fallout to fall onto my face and under my eyes. And I'm just going in the crease, medium pressure, not enough to hurt you or really push into your eye, but enough to feel it and really get it on and into that crease. And you can do this as dark or as light. You can use any of the brown shades that you wish. For this look, I'm using the darker. And building it up. And I don't want it so dark that it's like deep, deep brown. I'm going a little higher. My eyes are hooded, so it's harder to see the color on my eyes than with someone who has a little more open lid space. So I just pull it up a little higher so that it adds more space for the color, more dimension. You can tell I'm wearing it. Now, my one eye has permanent damage and hangs a little more on the one, well, that eye hangs a little more. So I have to bring it out a little tiny bit further and a little higher for you to see it than the other eye. But you don't want to go up so high that it's on your brow. And the motions you use with your brush, whether you go around or you go windshield washer, that's completely up to you. That's personal preference. Explore with it, play with it a little bit, and see what you like. So I'm going to use that same fluffy brush. I'm going to go into this lighter tone on the end that I used earlier. I'm going to kind of just real light cover that transition base. Barely enough to notice, but enough to kind of give us a transition color. Okay. Now, optional step, if you do your brows, while we're still on the contour palette here, I'm going to take our brush. I'm going to brush it up and get any kind of powder out of the way, any loose hairs, get them all in check. Kind of brush them in line. And I'm going to take our angled brush and I'm going to dip it into this medium shade here in the center. And I'm just going to put a little bit on the tip, still tapping off, and I'm going to fill in my brows with that color. Not all of you are into the brows, and that's fine. It's whatever you prefer. This is what I do. I have a lot of scars in my brows, so I like to try and kind of mask them a little bit, make the brow look a little fuller. in this one. You can also use our brow gel after you do this, or your brow gel or pencils, whatever it is that you prefer. I will often go over this with the brow gel to keep them in place. And we have different shades of that as well. We have a clear, if you don't want or need that extra color pop boost, whatever you call that. We have a blonde version, which is what I use. It's a little lighter, adds a little bit more of the red back in. We have a brunette version. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pinky. Just going to kind of even that out. You can use a Q-tip. So that is... They're never going to match. They're never going to be exactly the same. They're never going to be perfect. They are sisters, not twins. So, okay. So, that's for the contour palette. Okay. Now, for my color pop that we spoke about, I forgot I was going to do something different. So I'm going to take, I remember why I had this. I'm going to take our complexion brush, and I'm going to take this pink and this light. I'm going to kind of blend them in real good together. I want more of the pink tone to it. And I'm going to apply that. And don't worry, I'm going to blend it out as a blush. Tap it or blow on it. I'm going to bring it out to the temple. Because I don't want a blush in the blush sense, but I want a little color to that cheek. And I'm going to take my sponge and just kind of blend it into everything else so it's not harsh. There you go, there's that. For the under eye here, for my liner, I'm going to take this little smaller brush, and I'm going to take the darker tone, and I'm just going to get it very little on the tip. I'm going to tap that off. I'm going to use that as my liner, and I'm just going very lightly under the bottom lash line to connect and unify that color a little. I don't want a harsh block line. I want a soft, subtle color. There you go, there's that, a little tiny bit more. There you go. Under the eyes. So there I have liner. That is the contour palette in all its fun and glory. Okay, now for my eyes, I said I'm going to add my liner. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this as a lid color. So I'm going to very, very gently draw it on. You can do this with a brush as well if you're not comfortable putting the pencil to your eye. You can use an angled brush. And what you would do is you just brush the bristles across the tip of the liner to get the color transferred. And then brush it along your eye in your line. It's going to give you a less harsh, less bold of a line, but should switch hands, but I'm not left-handed. I'm also not wearing my glasses, guys. Making the line a little thicker, evening out here. Don't know if you can tell. Right. Now it's even. You can even go in a little bit. Very lightly. Under. So it kind of unifies. Sorry. Okay, so typically I would do lipstick last, but you guys know how to do mascara, so I'm not gonna put on the mascara to teach you that part. If you do need help with mascara, I can help you. Reach out. But lip color. I wanted a more natural kind of toned down look for the lip color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to setting powder. I don't want it shiny, and this will also help it protect it. It'll stay all day. I'm going to use my finger, get some setting powder on it. I got way too much on there. It is what it is. And I'm going to dab it onto my lips. Right? I look kind of crazy right now, right? This powder looks very white, but it is translucent when it gets on your skin. Unless you put way too much on, and then it's going to show up white. But you can brush it off and kind of even it out. So now what that did was, that took that high shine and that glossiness out of it and made it more of a matte tone. It's also going to protect it and allow it to stay put all day. Okay? So, I'm going to take our setting spray. If you don't use this setting spray, let me tell you, it's amazing. I never used one before. It's like hairspray for your face. That's what I tell everybody. Once you spray your face, it's not going anywhere. It's not moving. It's not budging. It's not going to melt and rub off and all that fun stuff. Just give it time to dry. Give your face time to dry if you're using foundation. You want that foundation to kind of dry out a little and soak onto your skin and do its job before you spray another liquid on top of it, because then it's going to create a barrier and it's not going to dry all the way. So you always want to have some time in between. Okay? And you're going to hold it about to 10 inches, whatever, away from your face. And you want to spray in a circle and an X or a line so that you can keep that makeup staying fresh and put. This is also very cooling and gentle on your skin. It's very good for your skin. Your skin loves it. It like soaks it all up. So that is my contour palette, full face, except for, of course, the liner and the lipstick. Okay? I got a blush, I got contour, I got bronzer, I got lightening, my transition, my eye color, everything else. Any questions? Let me know. Let's chat. I will help you in any way I can. All right? Love you guys. Mwah! Thanks for watching.